Hey guys, it's Old Man G here, back in with another video. I don't usually do this, but I thought it was quite important to address the whole Paul Pogba versus Graham Souness debate. For those obviously who are aware, Paul Pogba had an interview. This actually interview took place about a month ago on the United podcast, which just got released today. And he makes a lot of comments, especially regarding like his injury, and check that video out on his channel as well, talking about the operations that he had, etc. And then he's asked about the criticism that the likes of Souness was basically giving him, and then essentially Paul Pogba responds in that, I don't usually really like look at commentaries or pundits after the game. I focus on stuff on the pitch, etc. And so they didn't really know who Graham Souness actually is. Now, obviously, that statement is now all over Twitter, all over social media, all over the news. And Graham Souness himself has come back and said, essentially like lay the trophies on the table. It's all about trophies in back. Now, as I've said multiple times, I think that a lot of the criticism that Paul Pogba gets from the mainstream press is completely unjustified. I think arguably some of it is almost borderline racist. And the fact is, I almost find it quite ironic that Paul Pogba has basically said absolutely nothing to the media, to the press, to Graham Souness for probably about 2 or 3 years. And he says one thing, one small criticism, we wouldn't even call it a criticism really, because it's factual. Because the reality is that Graham Souness retired in 1991 and Paul Pogba was born in 1993. So he wasn't even born during Graham Souness' entire playing career. And the reality is that Graham Souness, even though how many people in Graham Souness named from the PSG side of 1970s, even the Italian man side, not just him, but also other Liverpool fans, etc. It's unreasonable to expect that a French-born Manchester United player who's obviously played Juventus will know the deep history of Liverpool FC in the late 70s, late 80s. It's unreasonable. And the reality is that the reason why people know, even non-Liverpool fans, know about Graham Souness is not because of his achievements, it's because of his punditry and his anti-Pogba bias. That's it. I must confess, I didn't know what Graham Souness' achievements were until I've seen all these Liverpool fans tweeting what his achievements were. I knew he was a good player and he was a good manager, but I didn't know the extent to his achievements. But I knew more about the fact that he's a pundit on Sky and he has an anti-Paul Pogba agenda. And you ask any non-Liverpool fan, the reality is that if they think Graham Souness, they're automatically going to think Sky Sports punditry and his agenda against Paul Pogba. You can see that with the memes that have been tweeted out constantly about it. So I, as a United fan, I don't care my bias, I'm Paul Pogba in this interview, and it was nice to see that in our podcast, Paul Pogba actually comes as quite a nice guy, because frankly, a lot of the time in the press, Paul Pogba is often portrayed as this sort of, as just this aloof guy, not interested, not caring, selfish, etc. But he comes across as a guy who generally cares about his friends, his family, and for the club, and I've always believed that. We'll see whether Pogba stays in Manchester United. Given the current circumstances, I'd be very surprised if he didn't, frankly, just because of what's going obviously on in the world right now, transfer market, etc. But I'm Team Pogba here, and I honestly don't really know. I think this is all being made much more of a big deal than it should be, especially by Liverpool fans. But even Jeremy Carragher saying, trying to come to the defense of course he should know. Listen, this is no disrespect even to Graham Souness, but there are a lot of players that, unfortunately, and this is the reality of achievements, is that like after some time, new generations come, and unless like you go and actually actively research, which a lot of people these days don't quite frankly do, you're not going to know some of the achievements of these players unless they're in the public eye all the time. You're not going to know, and quite frankly, most people know about Graham Souness. It's about his punditry and his anti-Pogba agendas. And for Liverpool fans, yes, he's a Liverpool legend. He was their manager, although didn't do quite great as a manager, and he achieved quite well. Fair enough, and you shouldn't take that away from him. But at the end of the day, enough of this Paul Pogba versus Graham Souness. I like to think that this phase is over and people can just appreciate the football. But as a United fan, as a Pogba fan, I really don't see the problem here. Graham Souness, please be quiet. Just stop it. Just stop your anti Pogba agenda, and just, let's just move on from this, okay? Let's hope both players, both just play a blank slate and just move on forward from here on out. Thanks again for watching, guys. If you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Text. Smash the like button and the notification button. Let me know what you think in comments, whether you think that who's right, Paul Pogba, Graham Souness, maybe they're both right, maybe they're both wrong, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Have a nice day, guys, and cheers.